Hi everyone, it's Alexis with Project Management Made Simple. In this video, I'm going to share with you how to identify and correct some common errors that can be witnessed in project status reports. From my experience, status reports, as much as they may seem simple to create, they can also be simple to mess up as well. Status reports are to tell a story about what the current status is of your given project for a set reporting period. And so if you're a project manager, if you're a product owner, whoever it is that is owning the narrative around the status report, it is imperative that you pay attention to the details when authoring a report so that you can share the story that you want to tell. So the first error, and let me also preface this by saying that some of these things may seem fairly obvious, but I have witnessed them in my career. I might have even made a mistake or two in my career as well because I'm not perfect. So it's definitely worth reminding and refreshing yourself on these things so that when you are speaking in front of stakeholders, you can share a cohesive, accurate picture of what's currently going on in your project. So first is having incorrect dates. Every status report is to either have milestones or something that is going to speak to the schedule for your given project. If your status report is then showing that there are some dates for some milestones that have slipped and there's no conversation around point number 2, the issue that resulted in that slip, well then there's going to be a gap in the story, a gap in the understanding of what's actually going on for your project. If you have milestones that were supposed to start or just, tasks that were supposed to start but have not been started and you are reporting them as to do and they're past their status date, well then again going back to point number 2, then there should be a risk that is associated with these items or perhaps an issue. What is it that is going on that's causing this discrepancy between what was your projected date and or start date for a given item and what's currently happening? You tell this story better by going into point number 2, which is to talk about the risks and the issues that are associated. If your organization uses stoplight statuses of red, yellow, green, well then my expectation as a stakeholder would be if I see the status is yellow, I expect to see a risk, something that's going to tell me why we might be off track. And if I see the status is red, then I most certainly anticipate to see an issue because I want to understand what has caused us to become off track. Next is having an unclear stated impact of a given risk or issue. You want to state the problem or the potential problem, yes, but you also want to highlight what is that impact on project constraints of schedule, scope, budget, or any other impact that the given risk or issue may have on a project constraint. Another error could be not having your stoplight statuses updated. So as I mentioned earlier, if you have an item that is supposed to start, but your stoplight status is not updated, meaning it shows a preliminary status or there's no status given at all, that's going to cause questions from your stakeholder of what is going on? What is the story here? If the stoplight status is not indicated, but we're saying that work is in progress, again, questions about what's going on. What is the high level view? Now, there may be some of you who have a different opinion on using stoplight statuses, the implications of doing so, and just may not prefer to use them. And so that's why you'll notice in this video, I'm highlighting if your organization chooses to use them, then you do want to make sure, or to use this type of indicator, you want to make sure you are using it correctly. And so if you have an item that is in progress, but you're not indicating with the stoplight status what the status is, well then that is something that is going to need to be corrected. And finally, the status and dates don't align. I might have said this already throughout this video, but if I am reporting on a given project And I have a timeline that is showing that there's some items that are past due, but I'm indicating the status is green, that everything's great. I don't have any risks or issues noted. That's going to be another red flag for your stakeholders if they're paying attention to say, what's actually going on here? We want our status reports, as I mentioned earlier, to be able to share a full picture within a small amount of time. And so it's important to highlight various elements in your status report to give that full picture. Now, if you're curious about the key components of a status report, I will have another video linked below where I go into that detail. But in this video, I hope you found it helpful and found some potential things that you can look at your status report to see if it's accurate, to see if there are potentially some things that you need to improve upon or to update to ensure that you are giving the story that it is that you want to tell. This was a video highlighting some things that you can identify and correct when it comes to having a project status report. As I mentioned before, these kinds of things can be common, but when they happen, depending on your stakeholders, depending on the type of project that you're working on, it can have a very negative implication to that given status meeting or status email that you're sending out. So it's important to do your due diligence, to go over your status reports regularly, and to ensure that you are telling a story that aligns to the reality that you're facing. So with all that being said, I want to thank you all for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please do give this video a thumbs up, and I will talk to you all in my next video.